Hello, welcome to the Will It Fund series from Finance Agents. What you're about to see is a real-life dramatization of an actual funding client that we have helped in the past. Will they fund or will it not fund? Watch the dramatization, make a guess in the comments, and then join us on the weekly Wednesday live show to see the results, find out if you're right, and find out what happens. There are not all going to be layups. Some are going to sound like they can fund and won't. Some will sound hopeless and will fund. So make your vote in the comments. Let's get started right now. Here we go. Deal number 5, will it fund?
Ow, you hurt me.
Let's start that over. Deal number 5, will it fund? Take 2. Hello, how you doing today?
Great, how are you?
I am doing great. I got your information here. Looks like you are looking for some money for your business. You were referred to us by Chuck at Chuck's Funding.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you have time to talk right now?
I sure do.
Excellent. Why don't you tell me what you're looking for? What are you looking to accomplish?
I am looking to open a second location of my nail salon.
Okay, great. All right. So you own one nail salon, and have you already found the location, or you're just sort of in the initial process of thinking about what you're going to do?
Nope. Got the location.
Got everything picked out?
Yep.
Okay, great. How long have you owned your nail salon for?
6 months.
6 months. Okay. Was it a startup, or did you buy it from somebody else?
No, it was a gift.
It was a gift. Quite a gift. Okay. So how many years tax returns have been filed on this nail salon? Or let's say, have you had tax returns filed for the last 3 years?
18 years we've been in business.
18 years, long time. All right. Were you any part of a partner before, or did you were just gifted the whole thing 6 months ago?
It was my wife and her. My wife again, because the borrowers are always male, and so I get confused.
About it.
So I'll say my wife, but I'll try and role play that it's me.
We understand you're not lesbian.
It doesn't matter.
It's your wife.
It doesn't matter. My spouse and her sister, they started it together, but the sister owned it, and then she gifted it to the sister when she went back to her.
Okay. Your spouse worked with her sister. Her sister owned the nail salon. Gifted it to your spouse or to you?
My spouse.
Your spouse is now the sole owner of this nail salon for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And what sort of, that's going to be a little tricky, just so you know, because the bank is going to want to look at it as a startup whenever you change ownership. But if we can show established history, maybe we'll be able to get around that. Do you know what the gross revenue has been for the last 2 years that tax returns were filed?
Yeah, I do. They were...
While you're looking it up, what kind of entity is it? Is it a corporation? Or is this a sole proprietorship?
It's a S Corp.
So it's an S Corp. Your wife's now the owner of the S Corp.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What do you think? What's the revenue been like the last couple of years?
I don't know. I can't find it here from my sister-in-law's company. But this year we've done 117,000 net. We did 217 gross.
117 net profit. On 217, that's an amazing net.
Haven't filed yet.
It's almost 50%.
That's just January to June, though, 6 months.
Now, with a net profit like that, you'd have a lot of money to put in to launch your new location. So how much do you need? Forget about what you don't. What's 100% of the capital that's necessary to launch your new location?
I need about 150,000.
You need 150. You've been able to net 117 this year. Is some of that your own salary? So it would be less after you pay yourself?
Right.
Okay, great. What's your credit like? Or you or your wife's credit?
Well, it's about 680, 700-ish.
Okay. For both of you? Any foreclosures, bankruptcies, any... charge-offs or anything that you might know of on? Yes?
We filed bankruptcy in, what year was it? 08, 09, a while ago.
Okay, so it's about 9 years ago. A personal bankruptcy.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so that's still going to be in your credit. That's going to be an issue for both of you. So it was a joint file bankruptcy that you guys both did together. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what you're saying is we're a startup.
It's going to be difficult to have the bank consider it not a startup. We can try. If we can get the tax returns from before the transfer, we might be able to at least demonstrate historical continuity. But you got to be prepared for the concept that they might consider you to be a startup. And starting up a startup is not something the banks like, to be honest. But there's a lot of different ways to...
follow that line of thinking, everybody?
There's a lot of different ways to get funding, so it's not a no. I just ask all sorts of questions so we can try to figure out the best way to proceed.
Got it.
What other assets do you have? For example, do you have you or your spouse have a retirement account from a prior employer?
No, we've been working at the nail salon.
Do you have a bunch of money in a stock and bond portfolio?
Oh, I wish.
Okay.
Golly, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Do you have any real estate holdings? Like, does the nail salon own the building it's in?
No, I have my house.
Okay, so you own your own home. Do you have any idea what the value of the house is versus the current loans against it?
It's probably worth about $300,000. We owe $280,000.
Okay, all right. So there's not a lot of equity there. All right, so to summarize, we have a startup business that has excellent cash flow and is growing quickly, but hasn't actually filed any current tax returns. We'll want to try to get the prior ones just to see if I can make that work. We have decent credit from the owner and the owner's spouse, except for the bankruptcy. That's going to be an issue. You don't have any outside assets for us to collateralize or leverage. Are you paying yourself, or are you or your wife paying yourself on payroll from the location? Or are you just taking distributions?
We take a small salary. It's a cash business.
Okay. Okay, all right. I think that's pretty much all the questions I have. We'll go ahead and send out an application which specifies which program we're going to... Tell me a little bit more, the things that you need the money for in the new location. Out of the 150, how much of that is equipment?
I got the quote. We're getting pedicure chairs. We got to do the manicure stations. We got to do the painting, the plumbing, the electrical, full build out of new location that we do not own.
And what is that?
It's in the strip mall.
No,
build out of
the full build out is what, the entire 150?
Uh-huh.
So
yeah,
that has no salaries or marketing expenses. That's all just the build out cost.
Yep.
And is the landlord over there willing to give you any money for tenant improvements, or is that also already calculated in?
That's calculated in.
Okay, so you need 100% of that money. And how much capital do you have to bring in?
I mean, we have net profit. I've made some payments. I've already paid for the architecture work, and I've paid some money for some various other things, like down payments for the lease, and I've paid other money for contractor work.
Okay, how much have you already paid?
I don't know, $10,000.
All right, so let's say the entire project cost was $160 and you put in $10,000. So that leaves $150 remaining. Mm-hmm. And you don't have any other capital to bring in?
Nope.
Okay. All right, well that's probably everything we need for now. Do you happen to have any other close family, friends, or relatives with good credit that would be willing to co-sign on any type of financing for you?
No.
Okay. All right, well that's it. We'll go ahead and send out an application, and we'll let you know within 24 hours what we think we can do for you.
Great.
Thank you. Okay, so you watched it. What do you think? Now is your chance to weigh in. Go to the bottom. Click a thumbs up if you think it's going to fund. Click a thumbs down if you think it won't. If you have additional questions that you would have asked this customer, put them in the notes. If you think you know what they're going to get or have an idea on how much, put that in the comments too. Put your vote in, tell your friends, get some bragging rights, and come back on the Wednesday show to see if you were right.